In May of 1896, a storm was raging in the soul of Saint Thérèse. Just as she was entering her dark night of faith, filled with doubt about the reality of heaven, she had the following dream. At the first glimmerings of dawn, I was in a kind of gallery, and there were several other persons, but they were at a distance. Our mother prioress was alone near me. Suddenly, without seeing how they had entered, I saw 3 Carmelites dressed in their mantles and long veils. It appeared to me they were coming for our mother prioress, but what I did understand clearly was that they came from heaven. In the depths of my heart, I cried out, "Oh, how happy I would be if I could see the face of one of these Carmelites." Then, as though my prayer were heard by her, the tallest of the saints advanced toward me. Immediately I fell to my knees. Oh, what happiness! The Carmelite raised her veil, or rather, she raised it and covered me with it. Without the least hesitation, I recognized Venerable Anne of Jesus, foundress of Carmel in France. Her face was beautiful, but with an immaterial beauty. No ray escaped from it, and still, in spite of the veil which covered us both, I saw this heavenly face suffused with an unspeakably gentle light, a light it didn't receive from without, but was produced from within. I cannot express the joy of my soul, since these things are experienced but cannot be put into words. Several months have passed since this sweet dream, and yet the memory it has left in my soul has lost nothing of its freshness and heavenly charms. I still see Venerable Mother Anne's glance and smile, which was filled with love. This past Sunday, September 29th, 2024, Pope Francis beatified this Carmelite nun, Anne of Jesus, in a stadium in Brussels before an audience of tens of thousands of people. He said in his homily that Anne was one of the key figures in the church of her time, part of a great movement of reform, following in the footsteps of a spiritual giant, Teresa of Jesus. But who is Blessed Anne of Jesus? Born Anna de Lobera in 1545, she belonged to an upper middle class family. Known from an early age for her virtue and her beauty, she earned the nickname Queen of Women by her suitors, and she was considered an excellent match for marriage. However, through Anne's Jesuit confessor, who was acquainted with Saint Teresa, she learned of the Discalced Carmelite nuns and realized that her vocation was in Carmel. She entered the Carmelites in Avila in 1570, and she was very quickly chosen by Saint Teresa to be her companion and her co-worker in the very difficult task of making new foundations, because Teresa valued her spirit and her judgment. In 1575, Teresa named Anne of Jesus as prioress of her new foundation in Beas. And it was here in 1579 that Anne would meet St. John of the Cross, who became her great friend and confidant. In fact, it was for Anne of Jesus that John of the Cross dedicated the commentary of his spiritual poem, the Spiritual Canticle. After Teresa's death, Anne of Jesus met with various trials, all related to her defense of Teresa's legacy and spirit in the order. As prioress in Madrid, Anne succeeded in obtaining papal protection for St. Teresa's constitutions, the legislative document of the Discalced Carmelite nuns, which were in danger of being modified by certain Carmelite friars. She suffered immensely for her intervention, but she persevered in the spirit of the order. Later, Anne helped to bring the Carmelite nuns to France and to Belgium. In France, she suffered a similar trial, and that she resisted strong pressure from the French clergy to modify the nuns' way of life. Again, she was humble and resilient and showed herself a true daughter of St. Teresa. In spite of all of this tremendous success of Anne of Jesus, she was most known by her contemporaries for her great love of God and his saints. her exemplary life as a religious, and her patience in the midst of suffering. Like Teresa, she was a true mother to the nuns who were entrusted to her care, while fearlessly seeking the glory of God in all that she did. On March 4th, 1621, she died in Belgium, where she had served as prioress up until her death. If you'd like to learn more about Anne of Jesus, ICS Publications has a great book called The Heirs of St. Teresa of Avila. It tells the stories of the amazing men and women who collaborated with St. Teresa of Avila in her work of spiritual reform. Reflecting on her vision of Anne of Jesus in the dream that she had, St. Thérèse writes the following in Story of a Soul. O Jesus, the storm was no longer raging. Heaven was calm and serene. I believed, I felt there was a heaven, and that this heaven is peopled with souls who actually love me, who consider me their child. This impression remains in my heart, and this all the more because I was, up until then, absolutely indifferent to Venerable Mother Anne of Jesus. I never invoked her in prayer, and the thought of her never came to my mind except when I heard others speak of her, which was seldom. And when I understood to what a degree she loved me, how indifferent I had been toward her, my heart was filled with love and gratitude, not only for the saint who had visited me, but for all the blessed inhabitants of heaven. We are surrounded by the love and care of our saint friends in heaven. Saint Thérèse promised to spend her heaven doing good on earth, helping us to love God as much as she does. Blessed Anne of Jesus is there too to help us to remain faithful to our callings in life, even in the face of great opposition. In the spirit of St. Teresa of Avila, these holy women inspire us to be intimate friends of Jesus Christ. I'm excited to announce that in a couple of weeks, we will begin releasing a new series of Carmelcast on the life of St. Teresa of Avila and what she can teach us about prayer, conversion, friendship with Christ, and fidelity in the midst of struggles. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to our channel so that you don't miss these videos. God bless you.